we're going to have sort of a combined hearing, which we are able to do under the procedural rules, given the totality of the circumstances here. So we'll call Ms. Fisk and Ms. Hollis, who have filed two separate petitions, both against the same respondent here, Jeffrey Risvet. So I'd ask the petitioners come here, over here. There's two seats here on my right, your left, and Mr. Is it Risvet? Mr. Risvet, is that how I pronounce you? Yeah, here on the left. Okay. I don't want Mr. Risvet to be sort of inundated with things he'll have to respond to. I've reviewed everything. My understanding is largely that the petitioners are alleging some similar activity, and that there's at least one incident that all parties are really stressing as something that was a catalyst for these hearings today. So I think just for simplicity's sake, I'll allow the petitioners to go. Each of you provide testimony, and then I'll ask Mr. Risvet to respond.
This whole situation has been extremely stressful. I suffer from PTSD, insomnia, anxiety, depression, and all of those have been severely, I don't know how to phrase it. It's affected me a lot. The longest I've gone without sleep is 8 days. I pace around my backyard constantly. I have 3 cameras. I even have a mesh thing that covers my windows because of the constant light shining in my windows and the stalking, or that I have felt that is stalking. He gets his partner to drive around and take videos, photos, play loud music, even before 10 a.m., where most of our neighbors are sleeping. Flip us off. We went on a walk one night, and so this is why I don't walk around the park anymore, because he followed us. It was Tammy, Kyle, and me, and we were walking.
Is this the February 4th incident where the police were called?
No, that was earlier on. I want to say in November. It was one of our first walks since he started harassing us, and we were trying to feel more comfortable. And then so we walked around, and then he's proceeded to turn his light off and follow us, which is, for me, terrifying. And ever since then, I've been on edge, looking everywhere. Like, I don't know where he is. I've walked out of my RV before, and he's been right on the trail right outside. And I don't feel like, I have a dog, and I used to walk him everywhere. I can't even, it's terrifying for me to even leave with him, and I don't know if anything's ever going to happen. So my husband has taken that job on, and I just feel isolated, and I can't sleep. I rarely ever leave my little spot. And no matter how many times we have asked him to stop, we have done it over text, in person. He's even dragged his grandchildren to the food stand that we worked at, and tried to talk to us there with customers around.
So if I may stop you.
Yes.
So when you say we've asked him to stop multiple times,
Yes.
What behavior are you talking about where you've asked him to stop?
For the most part, leaving us alone. We really don't want any contact. We don't want him coming into our areas. We throwing rocks at our sites, trying to hit me with their cars. I can't walk or do anything without being harassed at this point.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Ms. Holtz, if you could please raise your hand. Do you swear from testimony you're about to provide is the truth and all the truth? Okay, go ahead.
Well, this is like she said, this has been going on for months. I don't sleep. I don't feel safe walking in the park. I've gotten 2 cameras and a taser gun. It seemed to get worse right after my husband died, and at the end of July. Since the last court date, his girlfriend has been driving by recording our site, loud music, like 3, 4 times a day, flipping off the cameras. She doesn't have to drive by our area at all. I'm scared at night. I don't know what he's gonna do. He's been seen behind my trailer at 3 o'clock in the morning with a flashlight. I don't know if he's gonna set my trailer on fire. And I don't know if you need them. We did bring witnesses with us today. But yeah, I'm scared. I'm having anxiety attacks again. My friend has been staying with me for a couple weeks because I can't sleep. And we've asked him to stop. And there was some sexual harassment. The last incident, he latched onto me and started kissing my neck. And I told him no. I told him no to all of his advances. And then we just told him to leave us alone. But if we even leave our trailer to go for walk, there he is, no matter what time of day. And he's following us and we're scared. And it's pretty unfair to feel like a prisoner in your own home.
Thank you, Ms. Hollis. All right. All right, Mr. Risvet.
Yes, sir.
All right, over to you, sir. If you could please raise your right hand.
Sure.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth and the whole truth?
Yes.
Go ahead.
First, I'd like to ask you a question, a procedural question, and make a statement about my evidence. I have a video the night that they attacked me, which was the February 4th night. And I went to the library trying to figure out how to submit my video in a format that the court would accept. I was able to have the librarian help me transfer my video.
We have your video.
You may only have the audio part.
We don't. We have the whole.
You have the video that shows Marcy hitting me. That part.
Yeah, I won't
Okay.
comment on what's in, but yes, I've seen the whole video.
Yes.
Yeah.
So-
audio and- yeah, and video.
I guess that was my point that I wanted to clarify, because I have the video. If you were not able to see the full video, because when I turned it into the court clerk, he said I was able to upload it, but it appears that only the audio.
If it's the incident
So-
from February 4th.
Yes.
Then yes, we've been able to see it.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate that you have that video. This has affected myself, my partner, and my grandchildren. Obviously, I've heard what they've said, and I appreciate what they say, that they're upset about this. I don't have texts, nor do they. I don't have text because the text that they sent me, the last day that I received a text from Tammy was in August of 2025. That day, I deleted contact with both Tammy, Marcy. I even deleted my dead friend, Jamie. I deleted his name. I didn't need his contact in there anymore either. But I deleted those contacts. I thought I archived the messages. They went to my cloud, and I received a notice recently that says after 30 days, deleted contacts are permanently deleted. I can't even bring those back up. I wish I could. I have no idea how to get those from the cloud. And if they do have texts from my number, I would like to see those. I haven't seen that evidence at all that Tammy has talked about.
I don't think there's been evidence on either
Yeah.
side of texts.
My other statement, and then I'll talk about how I feel. My other statement is, and I appreciate the fact, Your Honor, that you're not allowing testimony or sworn statements, unsworn statements. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, Your Honor, you can go ahead and allow them, because really all they contain is hearsay, moral judgments, and people's personal opinion, and I think that you may have addressed that. So really, they have no evidence. There is no evidence. The pictures and video and everything that they're going to show shows prior planning on their part. It shows a conspiracy. And it shows actually that they waited. They had the opportunity not to assault me, and they still chose to do so. The video evidence that I submitted contains harsh language on both parties, from them and from me. What it doesn't show is me yelling and screaming and hollering, because that didn't happen. What it shows is Tammy saying, "I'm not drunk." I didn't realize at the time. When I listened to it again, it occurred to me and I realized what she meant. And so I'm going to have to accept that as the truth, that she was not drunk. But what that tells me then, Your Honor, is that she was fully aware and fully in control of her faculties, that she knew what she had planned, that they waited for me, as another video will show. She was fully aware that what she was doing was wrong, and they continued to do it, and it ended in an assault. From that point, they have lied. They've lied to the police. I'd like to point out a statement that Marcy made in her sworn statement, or in her statement, where she says, "I must have somehow convinced the police that she was violent." My rebuttal to that would be, I don't think I convinced them. I think when the police saw my video, that convinced them that she was violent. I've not included all the evidence that I was able to uncover, because part of it, I think it happened so long ago that it can't really reflect on true personalities. But I did discover that there have been protection orders filed against the other party. I've discovered that one of them has gone to prison. They want to talk about my past bad acts from 25 years ago.
Right. And so let me just kind of focus in here. So I'm not looking at past acts. The rules of evidence don't
Thank
apply.
you.
I am able to take a broader view of things.
Thank you.
But maybe this can kind of help here. So it seems to me the allegations kind of fall into a few buckets. And I'll kind of address the ones that I think most likely fit into an order, but I'll let folks respond. And the first one is the allegations of shining a flashlight into the petitioner's home. So that's clear in the petition. There's been some still shot photos that I'll ask the petitioners to sort of explain how they know that's, or what makes them believe that to you. But so I want to start there. Do you have any response to the allegations that you've been shining a flashlight into their homes?
I do have. First, I don't do that. Second, if I do walk around at night, I do carry a flashlight, as most people do. And in fact, I think one of the suggestions that Miss Rita has posted is that we carry flashlights after dark.
Yeah, and I'm
So
speaking specifically about shining into their.
No.
Okay. So, and what I'm going to do here is kind of go back and forth on specific instances. We stay focused a bit. And whoever wants to speak to this, everyone's under oath at this point. So do either of the petitioners want to address allegations that specifically Mr. Respet is shining flashlights inside your house?
I've had this happen a lot. It did die down a little bit until the last power outage, and I don't remember the exact date we had that in that area. But right after 10, is when he first showed up or showed up again after a little bit of not doing things. And so this is when we started going to the office and they started telling us that we needed evidence and stuff. So we did stand out there from time to time with cameras or with our phone. And then we bought cameras because we're not outside all the time. And then I found out because of the bright light he keeps, my cameras aren't registering him when he walks by. And I don't really know exactly what that has or why that is. So
When you
now
say
I have a
bright,
light.
when you say bright light, do you mean his flashlight or a bright light coming from his home?
No, his flashlight.
His flashlight.
He has a really bright light that reaches pretty far and that lights up my entire RV at night, even when the lights are off. So I'm like, I do know it's him. He's the only one that has done it. Even when we were on friendly terms, he would repeatedly do that, and I asked him not to.
When you say that, do you mean using the flashlight generally and it's just so bright it's lighting up your home, or do you mean pointing the flashlight at your home?
Pointing the flashlights directly into my window.
Right.
Not just, I mean, they have been down my pathway as well. Like he stands at the end of on the road and flashes it down there. And that is why there are some nights I have been outside waiting for him to either throw rocks or shine lights or come into my area. In which we have been told by the owner herself to get cameras and to record him if we can.
Ms. Hollis?
I've had the same problem with the flashlights, and you can look out and see that it's him by his dog and his, his light's really bright. You can tell that it's him. And since we put up the cameras, it's been starting to happen behind my trailer instead of out front, because you can see the camera lights in the windows.
All right, and again, I want to be specific because I recognize this is at night. I imagine there's not a lot of light pollution where you all live. And so this is, you're alleging he's shining it directly at your home. not
Directly
just
into my
using it out
windows.
on the road.
Yeah, just all over my trailer and all of the windows.
And then, so I'll keep with the two of you, and then I'll return to you, Mr. Resvet, as next. You've alleged that he throws rocks at your residence as well. What makes you believe that's him? How often does this happen? Have you asked him to stop?
Well, because when we were on friendly terms, he had jokingly was like, "Oh, I've been doing this to so and so's trailer and blah blah." And at first we really did think it was a joke. Most of the stuff he said, he seemed like a jokey kind of person. And then we found out a lot throughout the time of knowing him that even though he's joking, he's actually serious about these jokes. And so there's been times that I've been outside in my backyard and he's walked by and then I'll hear something hit my car and I'm like, oh, well, there's Jeff again. And I haven't been able to catch him on camera, but I have on one of the videos. It wasn't a very great video, but you can hear, it sounds like a large rock the night that we petitioned and went to court, like the first one, not the last one, him throw a large rock at my RV. And since then, he's been doing it to her. And I have also since then, I've gotten a camera for my back area because I don't have any vision back there.
Right. And again, your belief that it's him is sort of the timing of the petition.
I've seen him. Haven't been able to get him on video, and the few videos I do have doesn't have any. It's dark.
That's okay. And I'm really, when I'm asking about this, I understand you all have videos up, and that's fine. Your live testimony works too. So what I'm really looking at is if you personally observed the things that you're alleging.
I have.
Yeah. Okay. Both with the flashlight and the rocks.
I definitely have.
Yeah, and there's one of our witnesses that came today. He was throwing rocks at her trailer as well. So we knew that he did that, and she had caught him doing it, saw him through her window.
And so, Ms. Hollis, you're also saying you personally witnessed
Yes.
Mr. Resvet shining the flashlight and throwing the rocks. It's not just based on after the fact kind of this. Okay. All right. Any damage to your property or cars, homes?
Not yet.
Okay, so it's just you hear the rocks.
Yeah, and then you'll see him walking away.
Mr. Resvet, your response. You can talk about the flashlight allegations,
Sure.
the rock allegations.
Yeah. Well, I have right now, probably 4 of my own flashlights in the trailer and 2 flashlights for my grandkids. And I do have a rechargeable light that has a pretty bright beam, but I can't adjust the spot to make it small or large. It's one size. And if I have that flashlight pointed right down a road, the beam is so bright that it'll illuminate the sides of the road or like the little shoulder of the road.
Yeah.
But I'm aware of flashlight etiquette, and I think most people are also. And I know I've talked to Max about that. Max is one of the co-owners. We've talked about flashlight etiquette. In fact, he even asked me about flashlight etiquette, and I observe flashlight etiquette. Something I even have helped my grandchildren learn about, which is we try not to shine our flashlights in people's property.
Can you
And
speak to and I know you've denied the flashlight incident.
Sure.
I think I haven't. Can you talk about the allegations of throwing rocks?
well, it's untrue. My perspective and my point of view and what I have witnessed, and I'm sure it probably had happened long before I had lived there. I was over at Marcy and Tammy, or Tammy's. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was at Marcy and Kyle's house one night. And we were getting ready to go back to my place, I think, to have a fire or something. But we were getting ready to leave. We had all been drinking. Marcy was intoxicated. And she reached down and picked up and threw a rock at Shannon's. And I said, "What are you doing?" First off, yes.
Well, I want to just, if you're getting to something related to the current allegations, that's
I am.
fine. But I want to keep it on
Sure.
more recent. They're alleging you throw rocks into their
I
lots.
think that I was just trying to respond to what they had said and trying to show that it's a projection onto me of what they actually do. But really, there is no, I mean, I could summarize and get to the bottom line. There's no video of me throwing rocks at people's house. There's
Well,
no
and
video.
And I don't need the video. They're saying they have seen you do this. And so is
Yes.
it just sounds like you're just flat.
Okay,
denying
I
that
see.
they've seen you.
Yeah, it wasn't me, Your Honor. In fact, Marcy is the one who throws rocks.
All right, back to the petitioners. You've alleged that Mr. Resvet has been onto your lots, separate from the road walkway, but on your lots and refused to leave after being asked to leave. Can each of you talk in turn about that?
The night of the police call, he refused to leave, and I was already on the phone with Tammy before he came down. She knows I've been pacing my yard trying to get him on camera because it's very hard to get him on camera, it seems like. So she came over because we saw his light flashing, and so we waited right next to my car, which at the time my husband was gone. And our areas were we parked one car and then another car and then my RV, so it's like a decent space. So we were far away from the road. Anyways, we were talking, we knew he was coming. At that time, I didn't think I needed to record. I usually waited till he like stopped and started flashing his light to start trying to record. But anyways, he was walking up the road and Tammy and I were sitting next to my car. He started coming in. Well, first he noticed us. He seemed surprised. Then he came at us and we were like, leave. There's no reason for him to be in
And
my area.
Okay, and this was happening on your lot.
Yes, in spot 60. We did submit a picture of actually
The
two
map.
pictures of the maps, yeah. And he refused to. At that point, we did start yelling, leave. And I got my phone out and started recording him. And at that point, he's backing up into the road. And you can see at the beginning of the video, him backing up and then getting his phone ready to record stuff.
Prior to that incident, had he been on your lot and asked to leave?
Yes. He has, well, in the beginning when we didn't want anything to do with him, Like at some point, I had been trying to find a way to distance myself. And I thought I was lucky because he was like, well, I need space. And I'm like, cool, then leave me alone, you know? And after that, he started kind of coming up to me, apologizing and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want anything to do with you. And so one day I believe he was dropping off my grinder, and it's still sitting on my steps in a little bag he put it, because I don't understand why he would have done that. But we asked him to stay away from us and to not walk into our area.
We meaning the two,
My husband and I.
you and your husband. Okay. All right, and Ms. Hollis?
I've also asked him to leave me alone, stay away from me. And it's like every time you turn around, he's walking by or he's standing somewhere close by you, videotaping you. The incident on the video where he claims to be assaulted, you can clearly see me getting in between him and Marcy because he was grabbing at her.
And I want to stay away from the video and just, I'm thinking, I want to know more about prior
He came in,
communication about not wanting contact, not coming onto your property.
right after my husband died, he came over and we were trying to talk to him about his inappropriate sexual things that he was saying and doing to us. So he was on my site then, and we made it quite clear that he needed to stop and leave us alone, and we didn't appreciate the comments or being touched. And there was another incident.
And let me just, when you say not appreciated, I understand that. Again, as I kind of said at the beginning, what I'm really looking for too is comments that are not appreciated, but then notice to the person to stop communication, to stop unwanted behavior. In addition to being something you may not have wanted, can you talk about communicating that to him?
He was told several times and he didn't know what the word no meant. He doesn't listen. And we've complained to the office and they keep telling us to get him on camera. And now he's just, every time we see him, he's recording us. And now his girlfriend's driving by recording our trailers for no reason, just harassing.
All right, Mr. Resvet, over to you. Specifically with, again, I'm looking at allegations that you've gone onto the property of the petitioners after having been asked to not go there. And speaking with them, having physical contact. I think Ms. Hollis indicated that after being asked not to. So if you want to address those.
Sure. I have not spoken directly to them until the night of February 4th. I've not spoken directly to them since probably August 7th or 8th. I can tell you the comment or the conversation I had with Tammy on August 5th, her birthday and my girlfriend's birthday.
Is this a time when you're around when you may have expressed to him not to talk to you after that?
That was a couple weeks before one of the incidents where he latched on, started kissing my neck, and it was 5 days after my husband died. So I may not remember that entire conversation.
Okay, all right, I'm just trying to get a sense.
But he was told to leave me alone.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Mr.
The night of August 5th, when I went over to talk to Tammy, I had texted and said, I want to come over and talk to you. And the reason I wanted to come over and talk to them is because my girlfriend, my wife, I call her my wife, but my girlfriend and Tammy share a common birthday. We went out to dinner, unbeknownst and coincidentally, Tammy and I think her friend's name was Edie, had gone to the same restaurant. I didn't see her. My daughter did. She said, why is Tammy staring at us from the checkout counter? I said, what? I grabbed her, took one of my grandchildren out, and my daughter took the other grandchild out to try and see Tammy so we could say, hey, happy birthday. Hope everything's going well. Happy birthday. Didn't catch that. So I wanted, but I knew that Tammy had seen me. I wanted Tammy to make sure I wasn't ignoring her. I wanted Tammy to make sure that I recognized it was her birthday and to say happy birthday. When they say that I was asked to leave and I didn't want to leave, Tammy at that time told me 2 months after our initial, when she claims that I initially started making harassing comments to her, 2 months after that. And I thought we had talked about it. Everything was fine. I'm the type of guy that goes on. I apologized. We go on. 2 months after that, on August 5th, Tammy told me that she was still holding a grudge, that she was still angry about the way that I had acted when I was deep in my throes of alcoholism, that she was so angry that she couldn't forgive me 2 months later. At that time, I said, my mom treated me like this. I don't accept this kind of treatment from people. If you cannot forgive me and go on, and 2 months later, you throw this in my face, I said, we don't need to be friends. And I attempted to leave. By that point, Marcy had come over. I think Tammy had texted her, Jeff's being mean or something. Marcy had come over. I was leaving. I was attempting to leave her property, Tammy's property. She got up, she held on to me. I said, Tammy, get your hands off. Marcy was in the background and I heard Marcy say, Tammy, just let him go. I had to physically take Tammy's hands off my arms so that I could leave. I've had no further contact. Let me amend that, Your Honor. A few days after that, my grandchildren were coming over. My grandchildren loved Tammy and her husband, Jamie, and my friend Marcy and Kyle. They loved them. Marcy and Kyle used to come to the playground and play with us. They'd meet us downtown at playgrounds to play with us. After August 5th, I did approach Tammy and Marcy at their stand, at the food stand. And I said, the kids are still asking about you. I want to let you know that the kids are coming over tomorrow. I want to pay for their cotton candy today and the tip so that we don't have to deal with this tomorrow. I can just have the kids come up with somebody else, with Katie, somebody. Here's my money. They took my money. The next day, I went up just to make sure that everything was going to be fine. Tammy was there and she said, Marcy's not coming in today. You know, I was disappointed. I knew my kids were going to be, the grandkids were going to be disappointed.
So this is around August?
Yes, August, probably 8th or 9th. I know it was after her birthday, a few days after her birthday.
So it sounds to me like around this time in August is when I'm kind of hearing there was some clear expressions to not speak with the petitioners, not to go into their property, turning back to the petitioners. So now we're looking at sort of that August forward. At this point, looking at that time frame, Mr. Risvet communicated with you, gone onto your lot, things of that nature since August 5th. Okay, both indicating yes.
Yeah.
Can you give me some examples?
Well, I don't know if this is exactly very helpful, but at some point when we take our dog on a walk every day, but I stated that I felt uncomfortable. I usually go there's a camping area that's completely empty when it's like in August further on because, well, it's too cold. But anyways, we walk around there and my husband ended up taking that job for me. And he's Respondent went to the office at some point, was saying some stuff, and then proceeded to tell the office that he was going to call my husband's job. And then he proceeded to walk around the tent area one day and my husband was trying to ignore him. And he was like, I called your job, I'm going to get you fired and stuff like that. And that harassment, little comments and little like throwing rocks at our RV, walking by, staring us down, this creepy smirky smile that he does a lot.
How about comments sort of directly at you? Has he talked to you since?
Since then, I
August or gone
have
onto your property?
gone out of my way to ignore him. He has tried to apologize from time to time, but I literally I don't say anything. I just keep walking.
All right, Ms. Hollis.
I've seen him veer off of the road intentionally and walk in my driveway. Where we live, the campsites are kind of back to back and you have empty spots on the sides. And he feels it's okay, even though they're really close to our trailers, to walk in and out of those with his dog, which makes us both very uncomfortable because it's right next to us. And he knows, I believe he knows what he's doing.
All right, last thing I want to cover here is there's been allegations, Mr. Resvet, of you from the main road, it sounds like, filming them.
Yes.
What are your response there?
I have done that, Your Honor, because I felt like almost a tit for tat, and I know that's immature. But they want to say that I keep walking around their area, that I walk in and out of their neighbors' campsites. Tammy has neighbors on both sides of her. They're not empty sites. Sure, her neighbor on her south side has been there as long as I have, I think, Your Honor. Those sites are never unoccupied. But yes, I do videotape them because I wanted to be able to show that since I'm not walking around there, and Tammy has said this to me, stay on your fucking side of the campground. Since I don't go over on their side, I wanted to videotape them walking by my house repeatedly. I don't go down the center road behind their house because I think it's too close to their house and I don't want them to say, oh, Jeff's harassing us. But I do notice that there have been times when their neighbor across the street drives by my house and 5 minutes later, they're walking down the road behind my house, laughing and talking and blowing bubbles. So yes, I have taken pictures of that. I did take a picture, a video one day when they were standing out in front of the shower and I was wanting to go down there and could not go down there because I didn't want to come face to face with them. So really, I mean, they want to say I shouldn't be doing this or I shouldn't be doing that. I take videotapes to show that they're doing what they want me not to do. I do have a rebuttal statement for something that Marcy said about her husband, Kyle, and I know he submitted a statement, so I did want to talk about that.
Okay, so I'm not considering that because he's not a petitioner. And so
okay.
I'm not considering that, so we don't have to go down that road. All right, so here's where I'm thinking at this point. There's a lot of allegations, and it seems like, frankly, most of the animosity here is with respect to things that Mr. Resvet is doing in an area where I don't really have any control on the main roads here. Y'all are neighbors. I can't evict him. I can't issue any orders that prohibit his use and enjoyment of his own property. And so I can't tell Mr. Resvet, don't walk your dog at night. Don't, as long as he's on a public road, even if it's at night, even if it's, at times that make folks uncomfortable, there's nothing I can do to prohibit that behavior. What I can do is, it sounds like the petitioners have made it clear to Mr. Resvet that they don't want any contact, and that they don't want Mr. Resvet on their lots. And so, with respect to that, coming onto their property, having contact with them, I do think that they've met their burden on that front. That there's been an express notice that they don't want any communication. And it does sound like I recognize that there's a lot of friction in some relationships where it sounds like there may have been some friendships before that have soured, and that it is sometimes difficult to understand when exactly no contact is wanted at any point anymore. And it sounds like that may have been the case here, but it does sound like from what has been submitted, and again, I'm just reviewing the sworn testimony and the sworn petition, that there was some communication to Mr. Resvet not to contact them or to go onto their property. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign an order prohibiting contact with the petitioners. I'm not going to put any kind of geographical restriction on excluding or staying away from their property, because I recognize your neighbors, and I also recognize you have a right to be on the public road. I can't do anything about that. And so what it's going to specify is you're not allowed to go into their property, onto their lots. You can go onto the road, which is not their lots. And you can't have any contact with them, direct or indirect. So no, it sounds like your girlfriend may have a relationship with them as well, or in that, you know, a spouse. So no indirect communication. It just sounds like stay out of each other's business. Don't go onto their lots, don't communicate with them. I'm not restricting your ability to go where everyone else can go. Sounds like in this community, there's a lot of walkways and areas that are open to the public. Again, there's nothing I can do about that. If you think that he's breaking some of the management rules, some of the rules of the property, you know, that is a conversation for the folks who manage the property. I can't enforce, you know, noise restrictions yet.
What about him recording us every time we drive by? Because it's a one-way. We can't stop from driving his direction. It's and there's two ways to leave, and they're choosing to go our way. So
Right. So again, he's able to leave the area the way he wants to. Now, so as far as him filming, you know, number one, and this is not a criminal case here, but it is a crime to record people without their consent. It is different when you've got a Ring camera or something that you've installed, right? Because that doesn't pick up audio, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I'm still a little unclear as to is the allegations that he is going up to you, either of you in public, and recording you, or is it that he's on his lot recording when you go by?
well, it's both actually. He's been caught doing it in his area as we're just driving by, and the most recent incident I can think of is she was doing her laundry, and she was driving by the field, and he was busy recording her as she drove by. It's a very public area.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, so as far as him recording folks from his property, there's nothing I can do about that. The same as you all having a Ring camera, you know, you're able to sort of, when you're on your property, you're able to do things like that. And so again, you know, audio and visual recordings of folks, when they're in public, there's not much I can do about that. Now, you know, if it gets to a point where you think that this is you being monitored, you know, that could be a different story. You know, that is where you get into the legal definition of stalking. It's not just the occasional recording somebody.
I do feel like we're being monitored every day, though.
Right, but it's difficult because you're also neighbors, right? So to the extent that you see him at night walking his dog, that he's recording folks from his property. I mean, you're neighbors. And again, I can't evict him. He's going to be living there. So that's where this gets a little difficult, is you're going to continue to be neighbors.
Well, yeah,
So-
we've run into the same problem with the office people. They're hoping for certain kind of things to be able to go through a process.
Yeah, but what I can do again, where I can act is on somebody's personal space and personal property. And so for that, you know, so I will issue orders protecting, restraining Mr. Resvet from talking to them. Sounds like at this point, there's been a clear break. And so there's going to be no communication with either direct or indirect, you know, that includes no physical contact, and exclusion to not go onto their lots.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Okay. Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
To be clear, does that mean that Katie can't harass us, flip us off?
No.
The girlfriend?
This does not involve her. There would need to be, ma'am, is that you?
Of course it
Okay,
is.
ma'am,
Yeah, and I
that-
haven't done that.
Okay, but that kind of reaction is not helpful.
Sorry.
Okay. No, she's not a party to this, and they
Okay.
don't have any kind of legal relationship, it sounds like, so.
Well, they figured since they live together and they've been together for a very long time that they're both doing it, and I believe that he's keeping track
You-
through her.
You would need to petition against her. But again, the order is direct or indirect. So if you have evidence that he's indirectly contacting you through somebody else, that's also a violation of the order. So that's gonna be on here. So it's do not attempt or have contact, including non-physical, direct, indirect, through third parties. Period. So that would, if you think there's indirect, so for you, that's part of it as well, right? Is you can't tell your girlfriend to talk to them or anything like that, or,
May I ask a question?
yeah, one, and then I think we're gonna be, let folks go. Yep, go ahead.
They've stated that I record them as they come in. They record us as
Yeah,
we
and
go out.
I noted that, and that's why I'm not addressing that
And,
issue in the order.
The other thing is that my wife drives a really small car
Mhm.
there are 2 exit routes.
Right. And you're allowed to use the exit routes.
There's one entrance route.
Right.
Okay, I can't stop them from going past my house.
Right.
I can't. I don't go past their house.
Okay.
I have a big truck. I go up the middle. It's potholes. It's like this. Katie's car sits about this far off the ground. And to go out the exit loop on theirs is the smoother route. It takes an extra minute, but Katie doesn't have to deal with the potholes.
Okay.
But I have one more thing to say. It's not a coincidence, Your Honor. They want me to stay off their property, and I don't go on their property. And I think you've seen on the video that I wasn't on the property. It's coincidental. I can't prove it. They're not the only ones with security cameras, Your Honor, however, but Katie's car was vandalized the other day.
So we're not gonna get into that right
Okay.
now. Orders have been issued at this point.
Sure.
They'll be available to folks later this afternoon when I complete them. And if you have
Sure.
any questions, you can reach out to the civil department. All right, but that'll be the order of the court. You're all free to go.
So will that order include restrictions on them also of not contacting me?
No, it's a one-way. You would have to petition
Okay.
against that. All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you all.
Thank you.